I'm standing here, in this freezing courtroom, heart slamming against my ribs so hard I can barely breathe. The judge is flipping through papers, like he's about to sign my death sentence. Darius is sitting 10 feet away, looking perfect, calm, expensive suit, not a hair out of place, while his lawyer keeps saying the words, emotionally unstable mother. I feel every pair of eyes on me like they already decided I'm crazy. And I just keep thinking, how the hell did I end up here? Hey, if you're new here, hi, I'm Mira, just a regular mom who thought love and pancakes on Sunday mornings was enough. If you've ever had your whole world yanked out from under you in one single day, drop your city in the comments. I see you. And hit that like button so this story finds the other moms who need to know they're not alone. Let me take you back, before all this. 3 years ago, I was still stupid in love with the idea of us. Darius would kiss my forehead every morning before work, call me baby in that smooth voice that made my knees weak. Alina was 6, all pigtails and sticky fingers, and I lived for her laugh. I was the mom who packed heart-shaped sandwiches, who stayed up sewing Halloween costumes till 2 a.m. because the store ones weren't special enough. I thought that was my job. I thought that was forever. Then the chill started creeping in, slow. So slow, I almost didn't notice. First it was the little things. He'd come home late, smell like someone else's perfume, but smile and say, traffic was murder. He started locking his phone, tilting the screen away when I walked past. I'd ask what's wrong, and he'd look at me like I was a stranger taking up space in his house. I told myself I was being paranoid. Then he started taking my phone at night to charge it downstairs. I'd wake up and find him scrolling through it while I pretended to sleep. One time I caught him changing Alina's pickup list at school without telling me, said it was just in case I forgot. I laughed it off. Moms forget, right? Wrong. The day that still makes my stomach drop, I took the car in for an oil change. The mechanic, nice older guy, greasy hands, calls me over to the lift. Ma'am, you want me to pull this off while I'm under here? He's holding this little black box wired into my car. It's a GPS tracker, real fancy one. Been here at least 6 months. 6 months. My husband, the man who swore to love and protect me, had been following every single place I drove. Grocery store, Target, the park with Alina, the therapist I started seeing because I thought I was the problem. I stood there in that garage smelling motor oil and panic, holding that tiny box in my shaking hand, and something inside me cracked wide open. I drove home crying so hard I almost hit a curb. I didn't say a word to Darius when he walked in that night. Just watched him kiss Alina goodnight like he wasn't a stranger wearing my husband's face. 2 weeks later, I'm pouring cereal on a regular Tuesday morning. Sun's coming through the kitchen window. Alina's humming at the table, doing her spelling words. Normal morning. Doorbell rings. Some kid in a bike helmet hands me a thick yellow envelope. Return address, a law office downtown. Sender, Darius M. Valenti. My fingers went numb before I even opened it. Inside were divorce papers accusing me of being mentally unstable, emotionally abusive, financially reckless. He wanted the house, the savings, full custody of Alina with supervised visits for me, like I'm some danger to my own baby, and page after page of bank statements showing our joint account drained to zero. Zeros all the way down. My wedding jewelry, gone. Even the little gold bracelet my mom gave me when Alina was born, missing from the safe. I called the school to pick Alina up early because I couldn't breathe, and the secretary got real quiet. Mrs. Valenti, Your husband already changed the authorized pickup list. We can't release her to you without his permission now." That's when my legs gave out. I sat on the kitchen floor holding those papers while cereal went soggy on the table and realized I wasn't paranoid. I was prey. The divorce file had things that made my knees go weak. Fake emails, doctored camera clips, lies stacked so neat it looked like truth. And that was only the beginning of a scheme he'd been building for over half a year. That yellow envelope was sitting on my kitchen table like a bomb. Alina was at school. The house was dead quiet except for the clock ticking way too loud. I ripped it open with a butter knife because my fingers wouldn't work right. Page 1. Petition for dissolution of marriage. Page 2. Respondent Mira Valenti exhibits severe psychological instability, narcissistic tendencies, and is unfit to parent the minor child Alina Valenti. He wanted everything. The house we picked out together when I was 6 months pregnant, the savings I put in every month from birthday cakes I sold on the side, full custody, me on supervised visits like I'm some stranger who might hurt my own baby. I flipped faster. Our joint account? Balance, $0. Every single dollar gone. Then the supplementary card statements, the one he told me was just for emergencies, showed shopping sprees at places I can't even pronounce. $4,800 on a watch, $6,200 at some boutique in Miami. Dates I was home coloring with Alina. My signature forged so smooth it looked real. There were screenshots from our home cameras, me yelling at the stove when dinner burned, me crying in the laundry room after he called me worthless, all the soft moments deleted, every hug with Alina, every bedtime story, gone. Only the worst seconds left, clipped together like a horror movie of me being a monster. I couldn't breathe. My chest hurt so bad. I thought, this is it. This is how I die, on cereal crumbs and divorce papers. Then the front door opened. Darius walked in, calm as you please, suit perfect, hair perfect, smelling like that expensive cologne I used to love. He looked at the papers scattered on the table and smiled the tiniest bit. "Everything is ready. Mira, you can't escape this." He loosened his tie like we were talking about takeout. "You've been unwell. Everyone sees it. The school, the neighbors, even Alina. It's safer for her if she's with me full time. You know that." Unwell. Unfit. The words hit harder than any slap. I don't remember standing up. I just remember the room spinning and my knees hitting the tile. I curled up right there on the kitchen floor and cried like a child, ugly, loud, snot everywhere. I thought, this is how he wins. By watching me break, but something snapped awake inside me at the exact same second. I waited until he went upstairs to change. I crawled, literally crawled, to the office, grabbed the stack of those fake statements, and shoved them into the scanner. My hands shook so bad, the first copy was crooked, but I got every page onto a little blue USB stick I hid in my bra. Then I opened the leather journal I'd been writing in for months. Every weird thing he said, every time he came home late, every password he changed. I dated the page, wrote, received divorce petition accusing me of insanity. Account drained. He just threatened me in our kitchen. I underlined it 3 times. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in the dark living room with the journal on my lap and Googled family lawyers near me, free consultation, until my eyes burned. Most of them laughed when I said I had no money. One hung up on me. Then I found Mr. Rowan. Old website, bad photo. But it said, "We'll take deferred payment in extreme cases." I called at 2 because I was scared tomorrow I'd be too broken to fight. He picked up on the 3rd ring. voice like gravel and whiskey. "Rowan." I started crying again, told him everything in one long, messy run-on sentence. He listened without interrupting once. When I finished, there was this long silence, and I thought he fell asleep. "Send me whatever you have," he finally said. "USB, journal scans, all of it. Meet me tomorrow, 8 a.m. And Mira, don't let him see you scared again. That's what he's counting on." I whispered thank you about 50 times before he hung up. Next morning, I dropped Alina at school. They watched me like I might steal her, then drove downtown to this tiny office above a dry cleaner that smelled like mothballs and coffee. Mr. Rowan was 70 if he was a day. Suspenders, yellow legal pads everywhere. He took one look at my face and pushed a box of tissues across the desk. We spread the papers out like crime scene photos. He read for 20 minutes straight, eyebrows getting higher and higher. "Mira," he said, voice low. "Your husband didn't just file for divorce. He built a fortress of lies so tight most judges would hand him the kid and the house without blinking. The forged purchases, the edited footage, the school records, this took months, maybe a year." I started shaking again. "But..." He tapped the USB. "You just handed me the first crack in the wall. We have to move fast. He's going to escalate." I nodded, numb, clutching my journal like a Bible. That same afternoon, I'm walking out of Rowan's office, head spinning, phone buzzing with another anonymous email. This one just says, "You don't deserve her." I'm so lost in it, I almost run straight into this woman waiting by the elevator. Tall. Red hair in a perfect bun. Designer coat, even though it's 70 degrees out. She smiles like she knows me. "Mira Valenti?" Her voice is honey over glass. "I'm Lysandra Cole, licensed family psychologist. Your husband asked me to do a welfare check on Alina. And on you." She looked at me as if I had already died, like the grave was dug and she was just waiting for me to lie down in it. But I wasn't going to stand still and let them crush me. Part 3 is going to rip your heart out. Stay with me? Hit the bell so you don't miss it. I need every single one of you in that courtroom with me when the real fight starts. She looked at me as if I had already died. That's the only way I can describe the way Lysandra's eyes slid over me in the hallway outside Rowan's office. Like I was a ghost she was paid to exorcise. 2 days later, a fat manila envelope showed up at the house. Certified mail. Inside was her professional report, 23 pages calling me everything but a child of God. Emotionally volatile. Prone to irrational outbursts. Potential risk to minor child. There was even a section titled, "Observed Aggressive Incident, Escalator, Northridge Mall, March 14th. I remember that day, clear as glass. Alina had thrown a tantrum because she wanted the glitter shoes that cost more than our grocery budget. I knelt down, held her arms, and said, firm but calm, "We're not buying those today. Baby, we talked about this." That's it. 30 seconds. Lysandra turned it into 3 pages of me, publicly berating and physically restraining my daughter. She even attached a blurry photo that made it look like I was shaking her. I sat on the bathroom floor, reading it with the door locked so Alina wouldn't see me cry. Then I dried my face, opened my journal, and wrote every single word she twisted. Date, time, what really happened, what I was wearing, what Alina ate for lunch that day. Every detail, because I knew nobody was going to believe me unless I could prove the lies one by one. That night, Darius came home with the new tablet for Alina. Pink, sparkly case, top of the line, everything. He made this big show in the living room, handing it to her like he was Santa Claus. "Look what Daddy got you." "Princess, the newest model." Mom could never afford this. Could she? Alina's little fingers grabbed it, but her eyes flicked to me, quick and scared. She knows I saved for months to buy her the last one. She knows I sell cupcakes at 4 a.m. so she can have dance classes. That one sentence from him cut deeper than any of the court papers. He kept going. Every day it was something new. Designer sneakers, a gaming chair that lit up, tickets to that concert all her friends were talking about, and every single time he'd say it loud enough for me to hear, "When you live with me full-time, you'll have this stuff all the time. No more waiting." I watched my baby's face crumple with guilt every time she opened a new box. She'd hug me extra tight at bedtime like she was apologizing for wanting the things. I started finding the fancy gifts shoved under her bed, hidden. That's when I saw the hesitation in her eyes, and it broke something in me, but it also lit a fire. I needed to look Lysandra in the face. I found her office address on the letterhead of that poison report. Cute little suite downtown, plants everywhere, soft music, fake-ass serenity. I walked in without an appointment, told the receptionist I was a concerned parent. They let me straight back. She was sitting behind a glass desk, legs crossed, red soles flashing. When she saw me, her smile froze for half a second. "Mrs. Valenti, this is irregular." I closed the door behind me, quiet, calm. "I just wanted to say thank you," I told her, voice steady, "for caring so much about my daughter's welfare." She relaxed a little, thinking I was broken already. I stepped closer. Funny thing is, a true healer doesn't make a profession out of other women's pain. They don't sleep with the husband and then write 23 pages about how crazy the wife is. That's not healing, Lysandra. That's just being a home-wrecking bitch with a diploma. Her mouth opened, closed. The mask slipped. For one beautiful second, her eyes went wide, and her cheeks went red, and she looked exactly like what she was. A paid liar caught off guard. I smiled, small. "See you in court." I turned and walked out before she could find words. That same afternoon, I went to pick Alina up from school, early, because I missed her and I needed one normal minute. I was signing the visitor log when Mrs. Carter, her second-grade teacher, came over looking uncomfortable. "Mira, your husband stopped by yesterday. He mentioned you've been going through some mental health struggles lately. Said we should call him first if you seem upset when you pick Alina up. We're just a little concerned." The pen in my hand stopped moving. The whole lobby went quiet except for the hum of the vending machine. I began to understand. He was building a complete narrative. Everywhere I turned, people were being told I was one bad day away from hurting my own kid. And the next CCTV clip he sent my lawyer the following week, that one froze my blood. I'm not ready to talk about what was on it yet. You'll see it when I did. And it damn near killed me. I began to understand. He was building a complete narrative. And the next CCTV clip froze my blood. Rowan emailed it to me late one night with the subject line, "Do not open this in front of Alina." I was alone in the kitchen, the house asleep, the fridge humming like it was nervous too. I clicked play. It was me. 2 nights earlier. I remembered the moment perfectly. I'd come home exhausted. Alina was already in pajamas, and I'd scooped her up, spun her around. Both of us laughing because she'd gotten a gold star on her spelling test. I kissed her cheeks 100 times, told her she was my whole world. Pure joy. In the clip they sent the judge, that part was gone. Started 2 seconds later when I tripped over her backpack and cursed under my breath. Cut again to me, rubbing my temples because I had a migraine. Then it looped the same 10 seconds of me looking angry and detached on repeat. Every giggle, every hug, every "I love you." Mommy, deleted like it never happened. I sat there staring at the screen until it went black, and I swear I felt the walls move closer. That's when I knew he wasn't just taking my money or my daughter. He was erasing the proof that I was ever a good mother. The next morning, I logged into the home camera account from my phone while Darius was in the shower. I scrolled back months, thousands of hours, every single clip of me reading bedtime stories, braiding Alina's hair, dancing in the kitchen while pancakes burned, gone. What was left was a horror reel, me crying, me snapping when I was exhausted, me staring into space after another anonymous email that said I should just disappear. I felt like I was living inside a lie that was wearing my face. After that, Darius stopped pretending we were still a family. He moved into the guest room and turned the house into a prison with smiles. He decided what Alina ate. Mom's mac and cheese has too much salt. Here, Princess, Daddy got you the organic kind. He decided when she did homework. Let me check it. Mom might miss something. He decided when she went to bed. Stood in the doorway while I tucked her in, watching like I might hurt her with a lullaby. I'd reach for her hand at dinner, and he'd clear his throat until she pulled away. I'd try to help with her shoes, and he'd say, I got it, Mira. You seem tired? Every single moment I tried to mother my child. He stepped in front of me like I was contagious. One night, I was helping Alina with a drawing, and he walked in, took the crayon from my hand, and said, loud enough for the cameras, Sweetie, why don't you draw with Daddy instead? Mommy's been upset lately. Alina looked at me with those big eyes and whispered, It's okay, Mommy. And my heart cracked right down the middle. That same week I noticed the new tablet acting weird. It would freeze, then unfreeze like someone else was controlling it. I was cleaning Alina's room while she was at school and saw the screen light up by itself. I picked it up, and there was this app I'd never seen. Icon, just a black circle. I opened it. Remote access granted. Live microphone on. Camera on. Delete files allowed. Location tracking active. He wasn't just watching the house cameras. He was inside the gift he gave her. Every drawing she made, every voice note to her friends, every time she cried in her room because she missed the old us. He could hear it, see it, delete it. I dropped the tablet like it burned me. That's when I saw the corner of something sticking out from under her mattress. Her old game console, the one she broke 6 months ago. Screen cracked, buttons sticky from juice. She told Darius it was trash, and he threw a fit about wasting money. Bought her the new tablet the next day. But there it was, hidden, still warm like she'd been holding it. I didn't touch it. Something told me not to. I just stared at that cracked little screen and felt the first tiny spark of hope in weeks. That night, I started sleeping with my bedroom door locked and the journal under my pillow. I wrote everything. Every time he hovered, every time he corrected me in front of her, every time the tablet lit up when nobody was touching it. I wrote until my hand cramped. I was alone in my own house. My daughter was 10 feet away, and I couldn't even hug her without him watching. Judging? Recording? Then my phone rang. Rowan's name on the screen. I answered in the closet because the walls have ears now. Mira, he said, and his voice sounded like he'd aged 10 years. They just submitted new evidence to the court. A lot of it. The situation just got worse. When I saw the new evidence, I almost gave up. But then I realized I had cards left to play, cards he never saw coming. If you've ever been in a courtroom where everyone already decided you're the villain, comment, I've been there, so I know I'm not alone. Hit the bell. You're gonna want to see what they showed the judge and what I did next. When I saw the new evidence, I almost gave up, but then I realized I had cards left to play. Court day came too fast. I hadn't slept in 3 days. I wore the only decent blazer I still owned and put on lipstick so I wouldn't look dead. Rowan squeezed my hand outside the doors and whispered, "Just breathe. We fight with what we have." I nodded like I believed him. Inside, Darius looked like a magazine ad. Perfect suit, perfect smile, sitting next to his shark lawyer Cromwell. Lysandra was there too, legs crossed, hair twisted up, looking like a concerned citizen instead of the woman who'd been warming my husband's bed. The judge was old, tired, and already annoyed we were wasting his morning. Cromwell stood up and the projector lit the wall behind him. First slide, the kitchen scream. That was a Thursday. Alina had just started having nightmares after Darius told her Mommy might have to go away for a while to get better. She couldn't sleep without her little white bear, the one I sewed a heart patch on when she was 3. That night, she was screaming for it, hysterical, face red and wet. I tore the house apart for 45 minutes while Darius sat on the couch watching me with this tiny smirk. I opened the oven to check if it had fallen behind the rack. Don't ask. Panic makes you stupid. There it was. The bear. Sitting on the middle rack like someone placed it there on purpose. I yanked it out, burned my hand on the hot metal because he'd turned the oven on low just to make sure I'd feel it. I spun around, holding the singed bear, and screamed, "What kind of sick game is this?" That's where the clip starts. They cut the 45 minutes of me begging him to help look, the part where he shrugged and said, "Maybe you lost it. You've been so forgetful." They cut Alina clinging to my legs, sobbing, "Mommy, don't cry." They cut me collapsing on the tiles, rocking her while the bear smelled like burnt plastic. All the judge saw was a wild-eyed woman shrieking in her kitchen like a lunatic. Second slide, me pounding on the car window, sobbing in the rain. 2 weeks before the hearing. Darius came home, told me he was concerned for Alina's safety and needed space to think. Then he took my phone, my house keys, and literally pushed me out the front door in a downpour. Locked it behind me. I stood there in pajamas getting soaked, ringing the bell, begging to be let in because my baby was inside. I could see her little face in the upstairs window, crying for me. He stood behind her, hand on her shoulder, mouthing, "Calm down," like I was the danger. After 20 minutes of me pleading through the glass, something in me snapped and I hit the driver's side window with my fist, screaming her name. Guess which exact second the clip starts? The fist hitting glass. Over and over. No sound of me begging, "Please let me hold my daughter." No shot of him smiling while he recorded from inside. Just a hysterical woman trying to break into her own car, looking violent and unhinged. Third slide, the door slam that cracked the frame. This one hurts the deepest. The night before, he served me papers. He sat Alina on the couch between us like a referee. Then, calm as ordering coffee, he looked at her and said, "Sweetheart, Mommy's been very sick. That's why she cries all the time. When the judge sees how broken she is, you'll have to come live with me so I can keep you safe." Alina started shaking, whispering, "No, Daddy, no." I tried to reach for her, and he physically blocked me, told me, "See, you're scaring her again." I stood up so fast the chair fell over. I walked to the bedroom, shut the door harder than I meant to, because my whole body was shaking with rage and terror, and the old wooden frame split with a sound like a gunshot. The clip they showed starts with the chair hitting the floor and ends with the door slamming. 10 seconds total. They never showed the 10 minutes before when he told my 7-year-old daughter I was too broken to be her mother anymore. They never showed Alina reaching for me, screaming, "Mommy, don't leave me." They never showed him holding her back while I walked away so I wouldn't explode in front of her. Every single episode they used to prove I was unstable, he wrote the script, blocked the scenes, and hit record at the perfect moment. He didn't just want custody. He wanted the world and me to believe I was the villain who deserved to lose her child. That's why, when I saw those slides on the courtroom wall, I almost gave up, because for one horrible minute, even I started to believe their version of me, one after another. Me ugly crying, me shouting, me looking like the monster they said I was. Every single clip perfectly trimmed to hide what he did to make me react. Rowan objected until his voice cracked. But the judge just waved him off. I'll allow it. Then Lysandra took the stand. She glided up there like she was walking into church on Sunday. White blouse buttoned to the throat, hair in that perfect low bun, voice soft, like she was comforting a scared child. The whole room leaned in because she looked like the only adult in the building. She never once looked at me. "In my expert opinion," she said, folding her manicured hands, "Mrs. Valenti exhibits clear and escalating signs of emotional dysregulation, severe mood swings, verbal aggression toward the minor child, inability to regulate affect in the presence of others. I have grave concerns for Alina's immediate and long-term emotional safety. Grave concerns." The words landed like stones in my stomach. Then she started listing examples: calm, clinical, deadly. On March 23rd, Mrs. Valenti was observed screaming in the home at 9:47 p.m. The child was present? On April 2nd, Mrs. Valenti slammed doors hard enough to damage property while the minor child watched. On April 9th, Mrs. Valenti was recorded pounding on a locked door, pleading in a manner that could only be described as frantic and threatening. Every date, every timestamp, perfect, because she'd been fed the edited clips weeks ago. She even used phrases straight out of Darius's mouth: frantic, threatening, unstable affect. I sat there, realizing she'd been practicing this performance longer than I'd been fighting for my life. The judge was eating it up, nodding slow, making notes, lips pressed thin like he'd already made up his mind. Cromwell stood, smoothed his tie, and turned to me with this fake sad smile. "Mrs. Valenti, isn't it true that last month, in front of your daughter, you threatened to harm yourself if things didn't go your way?" My mouth opened. Nothing came out at first. My throat closed like someone was choking me. "No, that's not. Isn't it true you destroyed household property during repeated fits of rage? That wasn't a fit. He locked me. Isn't it true you've been unable to maintain steady employment because of your emotional episodes?" I tried to explain. I swear I did. I started talking about the bear in the oven, the rain, the way he held Alina back while I begged. But every time I opened my mouth, my voice cracked higher, tears spilled, and I could feel every single person in that room thinking, "See, look at her. She can't even answer a simple question without falling apart. Exactly what they wanted." Rowan kept standing up. "Objection. Badgering." Objection mischaracterizes the evidence. But the judge just waved him down like he was an annoying fly. My own lawyer couldn't even look at me anymore. I felt the room tilt. My heartbeat was a drum in my ears, so loud I almost missed Cromwell's next line. "No further questions, Your Honor." But every time I opened my mouth, my voice shook harder. Tears started, and I couldn't stop them. I broke right there on the stand. Ugly, hiccuping sobs. Hands over my face. The exact picture they wanted. Hysterical woman. Unfit mother. Cromwell smiled like a shark smelling blood. No further questions. The judge looked at me with pure pity, the kind you give someone who's already lost. He cleared his throat. Pending full hearing, temporary primary custody is granted to the father. Mother to have supervised visitation twice weekly. Will reconvene in 6 weeks. The gavel slammed like a coffin closing. I don't remember walking out, just Rowan holding me up while strangers stared. Just the taste of salt and the feeling that I'd lost my daughter forever. I drove home on autopilot. The house was dark. Darius wasn't back yet, probably celebrating with her. I went straight to Alina's room to pack a tiny bag of her favorite things so she'd have something of mine when they took her away. She was sitting on the floor in the corner, knees to chest, clutching that old cracked game console like it was the only thing keeping her alive. Her little fingers were white from holding it so tight. I knelt down slow, afraid to scare her. Baby, why are you hiding that old thing? Daddy got you the new tablet, remember? She looked up at me with those huge eyes, red from crying, and pressed the console against her heart like she was protecting a secret. What is she hiding in there? And why isn't she using the new tablet? What is she hiding in there? And why isn't she using the new tablet? I couldn't get that image out of my head. My little girl curled up like a scared animal, clutching that cracked old console to her chest like it was the only safe thing left in the world. The next morning, I waited until I heard the water running in the bathroom. Alina humming that little tune she always hums when she brushes her teeth. I slipped into her room on bare feet. Heart already racing. The bed was still warm. I lifted the pillow real slow, like I was defusing a bomb. There it was. The old console, hidden like contraband. Screen spiderwebbed from the time she dropped it 6 months ago. Buttons sticky from juice and secrets. But the tiny green power light was blinking, faint, steady, alive. She'd been charging it with the cord she kept hidden in her sock drawer. She'd been using it at night, after lights out, after we thought she was asleep. I crouched down, thumb hovering over the power button. Just one press and I'd know, one press and I could see what my baby was guarding with her life. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped it. Footsteps in the hallway. Heavy. Fast. Darius. Panic hit me like ice water. I shoved the console back under the pillow, yanked the blanket smooth, and spun around just as the door swung open. He filled the doorway. Eyes narrow. "What are you doing in here?" His voice was quiet. Too quiet. The kind that made my skin crawl. Alina forgot her hair tie. I lied, holding up the little pink elastic I'd grabbed off the floor. Didn't want her late for school? He stared at me for a long second, then at the bed, then back at me. I swear he knew. I swear he could smell the fear on me. Alina bounded in behind him, toothpaste on her lip, oblivious. "Mommy, can you braid my hair?" I knelt down fast, turned her away from the bed, fingers fumbling through her curls while Darius watched every move. When I leaned in to kiss the top of her head, I felt the pillow shift behind me, just a tiny bit, but enough to make my heart stop again. He stepped closer. One more step, and he'd see the corner of cracked plastic peeking out. I tightened the braid, spun Alina toward the door. "Go pick your shoes, baby. I'll be right there." She scampered off. Darius stayed. I stood up slow, blocking the bed with my body, praying the blanket hid everything. He looked at the pillow, looked at me, smiled that thin, cold smile. "Everything okay in here?" Mira, perfect, I said, and my voice didn't even shake. He left without another word. The second his footsteps faded, I dropped to my knees, fixed the pillow, smoothed the blanket until it looked untouched. My hands were ice. I could still feel his eyes on the back of my neck. Alina called from the hallway. "Mommy, come on." I took one last look at that hidden green light glowing under the fabric like a heartbeat, and I knew. Whatever was on that console was the only thing my daughter still had that he couldn't control. And he almost caught me finding out. That same day, Darius came home early. I was folding laundry on the couch when he walked in. All smiles for Alina. "Hey, Princess, come give Daddy a hug." She froze in the hallway. Actually, froze. Her little shoulders went up around her ears, and she took one tiny step back, closer to me. I saw it clear as day. Fear. Real fear flashing across her face when her own father walked toward her. My stomach dropped. He noticed, too. His smile got tighter. He crouched down, opened his arms wider. "It's okay, baby. Daddy's home." She forced herself forward, stiff like a robot, and let him hug her. But her eyes were on me the whole time, wide and pleading. That night at dinner, he started again. "Alina, wouldn't it be nice if it was just you and me? A bigger room for all your new toys. No more fighting. Mommy needs a lot of rest right now. Living with Dad would be so much better, don't you think?" He said it soft, like a bedtime story. She stared at her plate and pushed peas around. I watched her knuckles go white, gripping the fork. I wanted to scream. Instead, I excused myself to the bathroom and threw up. Later, when he was in the shower, I did something small but stupidly brave. I went to the router, heart pounding like I was robbing a bank, and changed the Wi-Fi password. Typed in something he'd never guess. "Alina loves Mommy 2025. 10 minutes later, he came storming out in a towel, phone in hand, face red. Who changed the damn password? I was at the kitchen counter cutting apples for Alina's lunch, knife moving slow. "I did," I said, calm as I could. The network was acting up. His eyes went dark, not annoyed, furious. Like I'd just burned his house down. "Change it back. Now." "No." He stepped closer, voice low so Alina wouldn't hear from her room. "You don't want to play this game with me?" "Mira." I looked him dead in the eye and saw it. Panic. Real panic. He needed that connection. Needed the cameras live. Needed control of every screen in the house. That's when the pieces started clicking. But I still couldn't see the whole picture. Why the old console? Why the fear? Why the password made him lose it worse than anything else I'd done? I started watching Alina closer. Every night she'd fall asleep with her hand under the pillow, fingers curled around that broken plastic like it was a grenade with the pin half pulled. Some nights I'd hear the tiniest click in the dark, like the record button. I told myself I was imagining it, that my baby wasn't secretly documenting her own nightmare. Then my phone rang at 2 a.m., Rowan's name glowing on the screen. I answered in the closet again, whispering. "Mira," he said, and his voice sounded like gravel soaked in whiskey. "The final ruling hearing just got moved up. Judge wants to wrap this before summer recess. We're on the calendar in 9 days. 9 days. I only had a few days left to prepare, and now I began tracing every clue in my journal. I only had a few days left to prepare, and now I began tracing every clue in my journal. 9 days. That's all I had, before they could take my daughter for good. I stopped sleeping. I lived on coffee and fear and the leather journal that had become my only weapon. I spread everything across the kitchen table after Alina was asleep. journal pages, the USB with the fake charges, printed camera logs, even the anonymous emails I'd screenshot before he could delete them. I used highlighters like a mad woman. Red for money, blue for lies, yellow for every time the cameras glitched. Then I saw it. Every single night, Darius came home late. The nights he claimed client dinners or traffic. The house cameras logged a 2 to 3 hour system error. No footage, just black. Same nights, the supplementary card showed charges at hotels downtown, restaurants I'd never heard of, jewelry stores. Same nights his phone location, I'd started checking the family tracker when he was in the shower, put him at Lysandra's high-rise. I wrote the dates side by side and felt sick. March 14th, stuck at the office. Camera dead. 7:12 p.m., 10:49 p.m., $800 at La Pearl Restaurant. Location ping, Lysandra's building. April 3, emergency meeting. Camera dead, 6:58 p.m., 11:27 p.m., for $200 at some diamond place. Location ping, same building. It wasn't coincidence. He was deleting the hours he spent with her and leaving only the minutes he spent making me look insane. Then I found something worse. I'd been digging through the divorce files again, looking for anything Rowan could use, when a random PDF caught my eye. Valenti Horizon Investments, signatory agreement. My name was typed at the bottom, my forged signature in perfect blue ink, pages of numbers I didn't understand, offshore accounts, percentages that made my eyes cross. At the top it said, Managing Partner, Mira Valenti. I'd never seen it before in my life. I called Rowan at midnight. He picked up on the first ring. Send it to me right now, he said the second I explained. 20 minutes later, he called back, voice shaking. Mira, this is an unregistered investment fund. Ponzi markers all over it. If federal investigators ever come knocking, every paper trail points to you as the sole operator. If he gets you declared unstable and takes custody, you'll be too destroyed to fight when they freeze everything and slap cuffs on you. He's not just trying to win the divorce. He's setting you up to take the fall for crimes that could put you away for decades. I sat on the bathroom floor, phone to my ear, staring at my own forged name like it belonged to a stranger about to go to prison. The next morning, I went to Alina's school. Needed to see her smile. Needed one normal minute. I signed in, and Mrs. Carter pulled me aside again. Same nervous look. Mira, your husband was here yesterday. He asked us to document any confused behavior on your part. Said you forget things a lot lately, panic easily. We're supposed to call him if you seem off. I smiled through the nausea, thanked her, kissed Alina goodbye, and walked out before I screamed. Everything was against me. The money, the cameras, the school, the courts, the fake company with my name on it. Every brick he laid made the wall higher. Everything except one thing. Alina. That night, I turned off the hallway light and closed her door until only a sliver of pink from the unicorn nightlight painted the room. The house was dead quiet except for the low hum of the fridge downstairs and my own heartbeat in my ears. Alina was already under the covers, curled on her side facing the wall like she does when she's pretending to sleep. I sat on the edge of the bed and the mattress dipped. She didn't move. I watched her little shoulder rise and fall too fast. Then I saw it, her right hand sliding under the pillow. Slow, practiced, the way she's done it for weeks. Her fingers found the edge of the cracked console and curled around it like she was holding my heart in her fist. I couldn't breathe. I lay down beside her, careful, like she was made of glass. The mattress creaked and she went perfectly still. I could feel the heat coming off her tiny body. the tiny shivers she was trying to hide. "Baby," I whispered so softly the word barely left my lips. "Look at me." She didn't. Her lashes were wet, stuck together. A tear slipped and soaked into the pillowcase, leaving a dark spot. I reached out and laid my hand over her chest, right where her heart was hammering like a trapped bird. I felt it through the thin cotton of her pajamas. Boom, 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 boom. Too fast for a child. "It's okay," I breathed. "Whatever it is, it's okay." Her whole body shook with one silent sob. I moved my hand up, cupped her cheek, turned her face toward me. Her eyes were huge, red, terrified. She searched my face like she was looking for permission to break. "I know you're keeping something safe," I said, voice cracking. "And I know it's heavy. You don't have to carry it alone anymore." Another tear. Then another. She pressed her lips together so hard they went white. I brushed her hair back with my thumb. "You are the bravest person I know. You hear me? The bravest. Whatever is on that little screen, we'll face it together. I promise. Mommy's right here." Her mouth trembled. She opened it, closed it. Then the tiniest sound escaped. Not even a word, just air and pain. She pulled the console out from under the pillow with both hands, clutching it to her chest like she was drowning, and it was the only thing keeping her afloat. The cracked screen caught the nightlight and glowed faint green, like a heartbeat. "I'm sorry," she mouthed. No sound, just the shape of the words against my palm. "I'm sorry, Mommy." My own tears fell onto her blanket, hot and unstoppable. "You have nothing to be sorry for," I whispered against her forehead. "Nothing? You're saving us, baby. I see you. I see how hard you're trying to save us." She turned her face into my neck and cried without noise, shoulders shaking so hard I thought she'd break apart. I wrapped my arms around her and the console both, holding my whole world in that tiny trembling bundle. In that moment, I understood. My 7-year-old daughter had become the secret keeper, the witness, the last soldier in a war she never asked for. And she was still choosing me. I kissed her hair, over and over, tasting salt and strawberry shampoo. "I've got you," I promised into her curls. "I've got you. Whatever comes tomorrow, I've got you." She fell asleep, still clutching the console, knuckles white, tears drying on her cheeks. I stayed there until dawn crept through the blinds, counting her breaths, feeling the weight of what she carried pressing against my heart. That was the night I stopped being afraid of losing her and started being terrified of what she'd already seen to protect me. I knew she was holding something important. But what was that secret? The night before the final hearing, sleep wouldn't come. The clock on my phone kept crawling toward morning, every minute another nail in my coffin. I finally gave up and slipped into Alina's room. She was curled into a ball, breathing too fast, too shallow. I crawled under the covers behind her and pulled her close. She made this tiny broken sound and burrowed into me like she was 2 years old again. Her breath kept hitching, little tremors running through her whole body. I pressed my lips to her hair and felt hot tears that weren't mine soaking my neck. We stayed like that for hours, two scared animals holding on for dear life while the house creaked around us. I didn't cry out loud. I couldn't. If I started, I'd never stop. Sometime after midnight, I heard the front door open downstairs. Quiet, careful, Darius thinking we were asleep. I eased out of bed, heart hammering, and crept to the window, peeked through the blinds just in time to see him slide into his car. No lights until he hit the street. I knew where he was going. Lysandra? One last celebration before he took my daughter tomorrow. I was about to turn away when movement caught my eye. Alina was sitting up in bed, blanket clutched to her chin, staring at the window. The streetlight cut across her face, and I saw it clear. Guilt. Raw. Heavy. Grown-up guilt on a 7-year-old's face. She knew exactly where Daddy was going, and she knew why. I went back to her, knelt on the floor, so we were eye to eye. "Sweetheart," I whispered. "Look at me." She did, those big eyes swimming, bottom lip trembling so hard it hurt to watch. "You can tell me?" I said, voice cracking. "Whatever it is, you can tell me." She opened her mouth, closed it. A tear slid down and hung on her chin. I took her cold little hands in mine. "Remember what I always told you? When you were 4 and you broke Grandma's vase, I said, if you see something wrong, you just tell the truth. The truth is always safer than being afraid. Remember?" She nodded once, tiny. "This is one of those times, baby. Whatever you're carrying, give it to Mommy. Please." Her whole face crumpled. She looked at the pillow where the console was hidden, then back at me, eyes begging for forgiveness she didn't need. I pulled her into my lap and rocked her like when she was tiny. "I'm not mad. I'm proud. So proud it hurts. Just breathe with me, okay? In, out." She tried. The sobs came out silent, shaking both of us. I felt her ribs under my arms, felt the exact moment she almost reached for the console and stopped herself. I kissed her temple. "Tomorrow they're going to try to take you from me," I said against her skin. "And I need you to know something. No matter what that judge says, you are my daughter. Forever. Nothing on this earth changes that. So if you have something that can help us, it's okay. It's safe. I've got you." She buried her face in my shoulder and cried until there was nothing left. I held her until her breathing finally evened out, and she went limp with exhaustion. The console stayed under the pillow. I carried her to my bed because I couldn't let go. We fell asleep tangled together, her small hand fisted in my shirt like she was scared I'd disappear before morning. Everything now awaited the verdict. Morning came too fast. I dressed like I was going to a funeral. Black skirt, white blouse, hair pulled back tight so no one could see it shaking. Rowan picked us up because I couldn't drive. Alina wore the blue dress we bought for her last birthday, the one with tiny stars. She hadn't let go of my hand once. The courthouse hallway smelled like floor wax and fear. Darius was already there. Perfect suit, perfect smile. Lysandra beside him in soft pink like a damn angel. He didn't even look at me, just reached for Alina. "Come here, princess. It's okay." Alina shrank against my leg. Rowan squeezed my shoulder. "Breathe, Mira. Whatever happens, we fight." They called our case. We filed in. The same courtroom where I'd already lost once. Same judge flipping through the same thick file full of lies. Alina sat between Rowan and me in the front row, clutching that little backpack with the unicorn patch. Her fingers hadn't stopped trembling. The bailiff swore everyone in. Darius's lawyer stood, smug, ready to finish me. The judge adjusted his glasses, looked down at his notes, and opened his mouth to read the decision that could destroy me. But right then, the unthinkable happened. A small voice rose from the back of the courtroom. But right then, the unthinkable happened. A small voice rose from the back of the courtroom. I I have this. Alina's voice cracked the silence like glass. Mom doesn't know. She was standing. My 7-year-old baby was standing in the middle of that huge room, clutching the cracked console in both hands like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Her little blue dress trembled with every breath. The judge looked over his glasses, confused. "Young lady, you need to sit." "Please," she said, tears already falling. "It's important." Rowan was on his feet before I could move. "Your Honor, the child has relevant evidence." Darius went white. Actually, white. Lysandra's hand flew to her throat. The bailiff took the console from Alina's shaking fingers and carried it to the bench. The judge turned it over, frowning at the cracked screen, the juice-stained buttons. He pressed play. The courtroom speakers crackled to life. First thing you hear is kissing, wet, sloppy sounds. Then Darius's voice, low and laughing. God. Finally. Thought she'd never pass out. Camera angle was low. Alina must have hidden it behind a couch cushion. You could see the living room carpet, their feet, then the whole couch as they fell onto it, clothes coming off. Lysandra moaning his name. I wanted to die right there. My baby had seen this. Then they started talking. Breathless, still half-dressed. Darius. Cameras are clean now. Only the crazy clips left. Lysandra, giggling. She looked perfect in court, hysterical, exactly what we needed. Darius. Once the judge rules her unfit, she'll be too drugged up on anxiety meds to notice when the feds come knocking. Lysandra. And the fund? Darius, zipping his pants. Registered in her name only. Every wire, every fake return, all points to Mira. When they freeze the accounts, she takes the fall. I walk away clean with the cash and the kid. Lysandra. And if she tries to fight? Darius laughed, cold as ice. If she loses custody and gets labeled unstable, she won't fight back. She'll be lucky if they let her keep shoelaces. The room went dead silent. Then the video kept going. Lysandra opening an envelope thick with cash. For the psych report, Darius said on screen. Make it extra dramatic. Alina's tiny sob came through the speaker. She'd started crying while recording, but never stopped. The judge's face turned purple. Darius shot out of his chair like a bullet. That's not. Turn it off. He lunged across the table, hands reaching for the console. 2 bailiffs tackled him mid-air, slammed him to the floor. His perfect hair flopped over his eyes while he screamed, "It's edited! She's lying!" Lysandra was already moving, heels clicking fast toward the side door. Another bailiff caught her by the arm, spun her around. Her perfect bun came undone, red hair everywhere, mouth open in a silent scream. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. All I could do was stare at my little girl standing alone in the aisle, tears streaming, shoulders shaking, but chin high. She did that. My baby did that. The judge stood up so fast, his chair rolled back and hit the wall. You will both face criminal charges, he roared, voice shaking with rage. Fraud, perjury, evidence tampering, child endangerment, conspiracy. I want them in cuffs right now. The final ruling changed my entire life, and Alina was the one who saved me. The final ruling changed my entire life, and Alina was the one who saved me. The judge didn't sit back down for a long time. When he finally did, his voice shook the room. All prior orders are vacated. Full legal and physical custody to the mother, Mira Valenti. Effective immediately. The father is to have no contact until further court order. Divorce is granted on grounds of fraud and extreme cruelty. All assets frozen, pending federal investigation. Mr. Valenti and Ms. Cole are remanded into custody. Handcuffs clicked. Darius screamed something about appeals, but the bailiffs were already dragging him out. Lysandra was sobbing, mascara running black down her cheeks as they walked her past me. She wouldn't look up. I dropped to my knees right there on the courtroom floor and pulled Alina into my arms. She was shaking harder than I was. I just kept saying, "Thank you, thank you, thank you" into her hair until the words didn't make sense anymore. 3 months later, the feds finished their investigation. The investment fund was a straight-up Ponzi scheme, millions gone. Every document had my forged signature, but Alina's video proved who really ran it. Darius took a plea for 12 years. Lysandra lost her license, faced her own charges, and disappeared from the news. I sold the house that never felt like home anyway. Used the little money that wasn't frozen to buy a tiny apartment 2 blocks from the ocean. White walls, creaky floors, the constant sound of waves. We painted Alina's room the exact blue of her favorite dress that day in court. I opened a bakery on the corner downstairs. Nothing fancy, just Mira's place. Cinnamon rolls that sell out by 9, lemon bars people drive an hour for, and a chalkboard that says, "Today is a good day." Alina decorates the cookies after school, tongue sticking out in concentration, flower in her hair. Customers love her. She smiles now. Real smiles. One night, months after everything, we were sitting on the balcony eating ice cream straight from the tub, watching the sunset bleed pink across the water. I finally asked the question I'd been carrying since the courtroom. "Baby, why did you record it? How did you even know to do that?" She was quiet for a long time, kicking her legs against the railing. "I heard Daddy talking on the phone," she said softly. "He said you were going to go away forever, that after the judge, nobody would believe you anymore. Then Miss Lysandra started coming over when you were sleeping. She kept saying mean things about you, that you were crazy and didn't deserve me." Her voice cracked. I set the ice cream down and pulled her into my lap, even though she's almost too big now. "I didn't want anyone to take you away from me," she whispered against my shoulder. "So I kept the old game because Daddy never looked there. I just pressed record when they thought I was asleep." I held her so tight I felt her heart beat against mine. "You saved us. You know that," I told her. "My brave, brave girl." She looked up, eyes shining. "I just told the truth, Mommy, like you taught me." Some nights I still wake up reaching for her, scared it was a dream. But then I hear her little snores from the next room, smell cinnamon from tomorrow's dough rising downstairs, feel the salt air on my face, and I know we made it. The past is still a shadow sometimes. I flinch at loud voices. I check the locks twice. But every morning the sun comes up over the water, and Alina kisses my cheek and says, "Today is a good day, Mommy." And the shadow gets smaller. If you ever think you're weak, remember, the truth always finds a way to live. My beautiful loves, if this story touched even one corner of your heart, please do these 3 things for me right now. Hit that like button. Let YouTube know stories like ours deserve to be seen. Subscribe and turn on the bell. Because I'm still here, still baking, still healing, and I'll keep sharing the real, messy, hopeful truth with you. Share this series with one mom, one grandma, one woman who's fighting alone right now. Tag her. Send it in a private message. Tell her Mira and Alina made it to the other side, and she will too. Your comments carried me when I thought I couldn't stand. Your hearts and prayers and "I've been there" messages were the light in my darkest nights. I read every single one, often crying over cinnamon rolls at 4 a.m. You became my family, so thank you. From the bottom of this healed, still tender heart, thank you. Oh, one last thing. This morning, a new email popped up while I was pulling cinnamon rolls out of the oven. Subject line: We want to discuss the investment fund registered under your name. I guess some shadows take longer to fade, but that's a story for another day. Maternal love is the strongest evidence no liar can fabricate. Come sit with us at the bakery anytime. The first cinnamon roll is always on me. See you soon, my loves.